Hey crew, I've got the key to this 25 BMW M340i, and this week we're gonna see what it's like to live with, starting with remote start. Good morning, neighbors. And as you heard, or perhaps didn't, the cold start of the Turbo Inline 6 is really soft. So your neighbors or even your sleeping partner are unlikely to notice if you have to start your day early or end it late. Now let's check out the spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19.5 feet long. I've got the three parked just a couple inches in from the edge, sitting next to my 94 Toyota Land Cruiser that Mobile Mama was filming this week. If you want to check out her content, it's at Mobile Mama on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. She's got that one also just a few inches in from the edge. And with that spacing, there is plenty of room to walk between the vehicles. Power folding door mirrors of the BMW do help. We got our trash cans through on trash day and a double wide stroller for our kiddos. The front end of the 3 Series is just back of the gutter at the beginning of my driveway. And at the back, there is plenty of room to walk in front of the hedge on the path to my front door. When first hopping in with the key fob, I see the local birds have been decorating the side of the 3 Series. I'll have to clean that off later. Anyway, getting inside with the key fob on me, I can touch on any of the 4 door handles and that will unlock all of the doors. And there is quite a bit of room between me and the Land Cruiser, so I can show you that one defined notch, second, third, all the way out, and I still haven't touched the truck, and I can slide in gracefully to this cabin. It's not too low. Closing up that door. Ooh, that's a good solid thud. Hey cabin crew, thanks for joining for this day in the life in the 25 M340i. In this video, I want to see how the livability of the M Sport 3 measures up compared to the lesser 330 and the more aggressive M3. The car is already on, of course, but if I want to drive it, I do need to put my foot on the brake and hit the start-stop button. That will allow me to transition the gearbox. Before I do though, I want to step back out and show you something, and that is clearance, because the M3 sits very low and has a jutting front splitter that does get hung up on the gutter at the beginning of my driveway. That's when these curb ramps become very helpful. But the M340i sits a little bit higher and doesn't have the same splitter issue, so it doesn't even really need these. One last thing before we get out of here, I want to show you where I would stick the items I bring with me every single day. Like my iPhone 15 Pro, which is sitting on this wireless charging pad, and this pad isn't that big, so this might be as big a phone as you can expect to fit on there, at least with a case on it. And then that is hidden underneath this wood cover. Inside the console, I did put my sunglasses very carefully because it isn't felt lined in there and there isn't dedicated storage space somewhere else in the cabin, so you do take a risk of scratching up the lenses. My GoPro accessory case also fit inside, that was nice, but there isn't room anywhere in the cabin for my 32-ounce water bottle to go, so I just stuck it in the passenger footwell, and of course that is going to be annoying because it'll roll all over the place and crash into things. Inside the door pocket, I've got my Ray-Ban Meta sunglass case, my slimline wallet, and a granola bar. So I wish there was a bigger cubby for my water bottle to go, but otherwise loose items are going to find their spot easily in the M340i's cabin. After putting on my seatbelt now, I'll pull the gear selector back into drive. I have the parking brake released, but auto hold is turned on, so foot not on the brake, I'm not rolling anywhere. I have to press on the accelerator to brake that up, roll on forward, make sure we're clear, and turn the wheel to easily clear my neighbor's trash cans on trash day. I took one turn and I got over the water bottle just rolling on the floor. So I already moved it to this position next to me in the seat, and that's fine. It just means that every time I open the door, I have to move the bottle first or it rolls out. Apart from that, minor inconvenience. Starting my day in the M340i is quite pleasant. With that remote start, the climate was brought up to the perfect temperature for me to get in. I have the option of seat heating or steering wheel heating, a personal favorite feature, though I wish there were stages to the steering wheel heating because I want to keep it on all the time at a low level, but after a short while, this one is just scorching the fingers. It's powerful. Honestly though, my convenience complaints for this car are so minor because you can find a rhythm of daily life with this vehicle quickly. And that's not always the case for vehicles I review. Sometimes it takes a while, many days, to settle into where the controls for things are and how to find a comfortable seat position or steering wheel tilt, you know, all these different things, and how to drive the vehicle. This one, with the turbo inline 6-cylinder and the 48-volt mild hybrid system, just works flawlessly and simply, and I can find what I need in the infotainment system, and it's responsive, and there's still physical controls for things you use all the time, like defrosters and volume knobs. The seat controls aren't hidden in menus, they're just these physical buttons here on the side. I've got a manual tilt and telescoping steering wheel. I don't have to wait for that to come to the position I want it to be. It's just intuitive, and I love that. You can find your layers of complexity if you want them, like your drive modes. They seem simple enough: Sport, Comfort, Eco, Pro, but actually if you press on those controls, you go into Eco, there is Eco, Pro, Individual that you can customize and turn on and off these certain factors. Then if you hit Sport, you have Sport, you've got Sport Plus, and then you've got Sport Individual, where again, you have different things, different levers that you can pull. But Comfort at least is just, well, it's Comfort. And that's where I start things off when I'm driving the M340i. And that's because the around town driving experience in Comfort is just right. You've got almost 400 horsepower in this turbo inline 6, and so there's never really a deficit of power, but with the throttle sensitivity in Comfort, it isn't so eager that you feel like you have to be on edge all the time driving it. You can lean into the throttle, you'll pick up the pace, don't worry about that, but you'll get there comfortably and casually. Same thing with the brake pedal. I just go to that pedal and the stopping is smooth. The 8-speed automatic is also velvety in the gear changes. You don't really notice it working in the background, nor am I overtly aware of road blemishes or surface changes. It's a big difference in the 3 Series range between the M Sport and the full-on M car. It's like the M3 is attempting to speak the language of chill when it's in its comfort modes, but it only knows a few words. While the M340i is a native speaker. And when you're gonna be running errands or taking your commute or picking up kids from school every single day, you want that fluency. I do need to show you things like the turn signal sound, which is a classic BMW tune. One I don't mind. I don't know why BMW drivers don't use it more often. And the turning radius, with the wheel fully turned, is terrific. Another T word. It's suited to the M340i. Great turning radius. Last but not least, what if someone is driving recklessly on the road? They're scaring the women and children. They need a horn beep like you wouldn't believe. What are they going to hear from this car? Oh, that is a bolder horn sound than I was expecting. I like that, BMW. Get their attention. Change that behavior now. And I need to change the fact that I haven't had coffee today. So I'm hopping in here to Moon Goat Coffee Roasters. Oh, and a space right up front. Oh, 15 minutes only. I'll have to try again. Space right here next to the Bentley. To the Bentley Continental GT. Why do I speak like this? I'm gonna back it up, go into reverse, ooh, and pop up the wood cover. High-res camera, bird's eye view. Also got a 3D view that I don't need right now. Negotiate with the trajectory lines into my space. Parking sensors, chiming in for proximity. And we're good here. Let's get coffee. There we are, iced decaf latte. And Moon Goat, by the way, probably some of the best decaf in the area. I did repark this car, by the way, because I just wanted space to look at it. And it is a handsome shape at that. This one is painted in Arctic Race Blue, and I like this color, but I think I like the Portimao blue just a bit better. I do appreciate that this car doesn't have the shadow line package to black out the grille, because I like this contrast. The wheels, these 19-inchers, are not my favorite design, but they do give you other options if you don't like them. The contrasting blue calipers, those work really well with the paint job. You can get red if you want. Blacked out details for the trim and door mirrors, that's all good. Classic sedan silhouette, looks sporty, but professional. And here, there's a subtle lip spoiler, nothing over the top for an M Sport. Gloss black diffuser and blacked out interesting shaped exhaust ports. There isn't really a bad design angle to the M340i, and it adds that touch of sport without looking garish, which by contrast is what some may think if you show up in a lime green M3 competition to your business meeting. Now let's see about the cup holder situation, because speaking of M3s, the M3 CS doesn't have any cup holders. You just get the door pockets and they're at an angle. This, it does have proper cup holders. Underneath that wood cover, we've got two of them, and they've got these little holders here, so that isn't going anywhere, and it's raised up enough that I can easily grab it again for a sip. Just delightful. Now, the second reason I reparked this bad boy was because I wanted to nose into a space and show you a cool feature. If I go into reverse, there is this option for backup assist, and without touching the steering wheel, if I just use the throttle and brake, I can back out of a space along the same trajectory I took to get in it. And that's great if you're parked really close to someone else and you're worried about maybe touching them on the way out, or you just lack the parking confidence. What a unicorn. E63S wagon. No longer on sale. And that makes me so sad. What's going on with this parking lot today? Rolls-Royce Spectre, all blacked out. Continental GT, E63S, Spectre. The wealthy have descended upon Moongoat. Now I want to hear from someone who has a history of ownership of both an M3 and a non-M3 series. My mom. So let's go pick her up. Hey, Mom.
Hi, Miles.
Welcome to the BMW M340i.
Thank you for including me.
Of course, you're a hit with the channel community. Everyone loves you. And I wanted you in this video especially because you've got a history with the 3 Series.
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
First it was the E46 generation 330i.
Yes.
Which had a 6-cylinder like this inline 6,
Love
BMW's
that
inline
car.
6. And then you had the E36 M3 that I later bought from you that also had the inline 6-cylinder. Now we've got a new generation B58
Yes.
inline 6-cylinder turbocharged motor. Just chart the course for me on how you got into the 3 Series, because later she had an E60 generation 550i. How did you get into BMW?
Well, I think I've just always admired the brand.
Yeah.
And the look of that first car was just, it was so compact. It was a nice little 4-door. It wasn't the coupe. Very accessible, carried a lot of stuff, reliable.
Fun to drive.
Extremely fun to drive. Had a lot of power, and I felt like I could pretty much rule the world in that car.
You could, and you had a great spec on it. You had black on the outside with the tan interior, tan leather interior.
Yes, it was a lovely camel.
I loved that car. I wanted that car, and then you gave it to my sister. Later on, much later on, you had the E36 M3.
Yes.
And I kind of helped convince her that that was a good buy. It had a lot of miles on it. It had like 180,000, 190,000 miles on it when you bought it.
Well, that car was very rough when we bought it.
Yes.
Very
It needed
rough.
some suspension work, and trim panels were falling off. But I mean,
it needed a new passenger seat.
it did. That's right. Oh my gosh, that is gouging. It's like Freddy Krueger came along and just attacked the passenger
It's like
seat
a
and then
dog
left it.
had eaten it.
Yes. You loved driving that car. That was a manual, whereas the E46
I
was
did.
not.
I was very happy back to my manual shift.
Yes. 30 years later, 2025, M340i, which actually is sort of a spiritual successor to that 330i that you had.
Okay.
That had the 6-cylinder, this has the 6-cylinder, whereas the 330 has the turbo 4-cylinder for this car.
Okay.
So this one has good power, quite a bit more than your E46.
Right.
But it also costs like 62 grand to start. This one's 67.
Ooh.
Whereas in 2004 dollars, I looked this up, your E46 was 36,000 to start. You had some options on it, so maybe
my
into the low
goodness.
40s.
Okay.
But, you know, that's a big gap between that and this.
Sure.
You know, add inflation, but also add the fact that cars have just gotten so expensive. But you get a lot more now. You
Yes.
know, like,
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all of these technological features were
Yes.
not available then.
no. And how do you
Everything.
feel about them in general?
I think this is sleek looking.
Yeah, and then you still have this iDrive controller down here.
Yes.
So if you don't want to touch the screen, you can zoom in, zoom out, go to your hotkeys, all that kind of stuff.
I think the first iDrive I had was on the 550.
It was. It is very user-friendly, and it's nice to have the redundancy. Oh, we're going right. That's right.
Yes.
We've got sandwiches to consume at one of our favorite spots in
We don't
Newport
want to get
Beach.
off course.
No. I have a follow-up question for you. Because the BMW brand has changed considerably amidst the generations of their cars that you've owned. From some of their cars, it's a little unrecognizable.
I have frequently pulled up behind a car that I didn't recognize, only to realize, oh, it's a BMW.
Yeah.
It looks like they tried to be a Mercedes, they tried to be a Lexus, they tried to be any number of other things.
You're speaking what a lot of enthusiasts are feeling about the BMW brand right now. It's a bit jarring how they've developed to this point, but you get in a car like this and it's honestly a breath of fresh air. Like, this is all the BMW DNA in a car that's not a full-on M product, so relatively attainable in price, which
Right.
you loved about the E46.
Yes, I know cars evolve and the styles change.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that this one, you feel like, oh, familiar, comfortable,
Yeah.
predictable. But it does look like they have made some changes for the sake of economy without maybe sacrificing the performance of the car. They've done it on the interior.
Yeah.
And functionality, like maybe easier to clean, possibly easier to maintain.
It looks good, but you start getting real up close in it and you're like, oh, that looks and
I
feels
don't
kind of
like
cheaper.
that so much.
Yeah,
Sure.
so this one may be a bit more apparent in the cost savings than the E46 generation that helped them really take ownership of this segment.
Right, agreed.
Well, let's digest our thoughts about the 3 Series a bit more while
Okay.
we are digesting some sandwiches from C'est Simon Bakery.
Sounds great. Thank you. Wow.
What did you have?
I got the Black Forest ham on the baguette
Nice.
with some Dijon mustard.
I'm already experiencing a little bit of regret that I didn't get a baguette from a place that's sort of famous for sandwiches on baguettes.
Baguettes.
I panicked. I had this whole wheat for my tarragon chicken. It does taste good. Today's the day of good German wagons.
Wow.
Audi RS6 Avant. You know, we had a great lunch, but we didn't get dessert. So, in lieu of a formal dessert, what would you say to some performance dessert?
Performance dessert is exactly what I would prefer.
Perfect. Let's have some. Here we
All
go.
right. They saved a lane for you.
They did. It's got a bit more poke than your E46 330i, I would say.
Just a bit.
Just a bit
Very,
more.
very smooth. And a nice little wine.
Yes, a good note. All right, let's get you back home.
Merci.
Out goes Mom. In comes Mobile Mama. What are you wearing?
I was going to say, is this had a problem? Oopsies! I was having a Cadillac day, and then you said, come film the BMW with
You're having
me.
a
And I said,
Cadillac day in the Rivian?
Yeah.
She's driving the Rivian R1S.
Cadillac state of mind.
What is a Cadillac? I don't want to.
You don't
Is it
want to know,
expensive?
'cause, yeah, it's expensive, and you'll
great.
see the charges.
I think Cadillac cheaps out in the back seats.
They do.
But
I
I
will
have
say,
not
like-
seen a similar level of cheapness to the back of the BMW.
Yeah.
Right?
I
We
agree,
got like
yeah.
a third zone of climate.
There's actually something there,
There's something here.
which is more than what Cadillac
In my Blackwing,
does.
in my $100,000 Blackwing, you had to fight over one USB-C port.
Yeah.
$60,000 M340i, two
Cadillac
USB-Cs.
cares about the front.
That's true. And
Yeah.
climate control.
Yeah.
But that we'd have to fight over, I suppose. We get an armrest. Want one of those?
Whoa.
Shabam! With the
I mean, doesn't
deploying
everyone
action.
have an armrest? Doesn't everyone have an armrest?
I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I think so.
One
Space-wise,
of us.
for me, the biggest win is the sedan win relative to a coupe design 4-door. You don't have to compromise with headroom. My head clears by at least an inch.
Yeah, that is good.
With it back on the headrest. My knees also clear. Could you mom this car though? That's the real question. Car seats, installation, that's next.
Well, you did. You put 2 moms in here today, so I guess you did mom the car.
I mommed the heck out of this car. Here's more good news.
What?
The doors open nice and wide.
Yes.
It was really easy to get the car seats in, and the
Definitely.
adjusting headrest allowed me to get to that top tether.
Perfect. I know I didn't get to watch you struggle today.
I know.
Darn it.
Isn't that such
BMW.
such a bummer? Yeah, and yours, you had the lower latch anchors, and I think the covers just pull up,
They did.
so you're not going to lose them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very cool.
Should we test out the front passenger row?
Let's do it.
Okie dokie. What do we got?
Still
Okay.
a good leg room.
That's pretty
All
solid.
right, yeah.
And
I
mean,
moved the seat forward, but it's fine. I
You
like
did?
the recline.
okay.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
Sedans. People overlook sedans. Even compact sedans can be family
Family
approved.
approved.
Today, I'm diving into performance, starting with a real-world 0 to 60 test. I've got my race box set up here to record, and all the settings for launch control, Sport Plus drive mode, traction off, stability on, and the Sport transmission setting. From here, holding my foot on the brake, pin the throttle, launch is active, letting go. Fighting for traction, and we are away. 260 in 4.70 seconds. That's not bad for a rear drive daily driver. Whee! And if this were the all-wheel drive version on a set of high-performance summer tires, that would be at least half a second quicker. But there is a trade-off. One, costs extra money for the X-Drive, but two, you have to drive that version of the M340i quicker to feel like you're extracting the most out of it. The all-wheel drive version, with its nice rotation, is livelier at even lower speeds. Not that you have to be going that slow, but you don't need to be going crazy fast to enjoy this car. A casual canyon carving sesh on the way home from work will do. And with the M Sport brakes and the great steering feel, you're gonna love every second of that. And this car is in no way sloppy with its rear drive dynamics. Thanks to the limited slip differential at the back, it really finds a way to get the power to the outside tire and just shoot you out the back end of a curve. The chassis is just so good. Notably more composed than a lesser 330, while not being quite as sharp as a full-on M car. What an approachable, delightful machine. And in the auto mode, the 8-speed automatic is giving me just the right gear position to access the 386 horse, 369 pound-feet of torque. I love that it's rear drive. This car still just absolutely destroys its segment. The Audi S5, now that that's a four-door, the Mercedes-AMG C43, they cannot hold a candle to the M340 in terms of driving dynamics, driving enjoyment. The only thing that could make this car more perfect in its segment would be a manual. If you took the manual transmission out of the Z4 M40i and put it in this, that would be modern era daily driving for under $100,000 at its finest. But, you know, pulling a paddle is still fun, right? Yay! It just doesn't do the same thing. But what about the commute? I'm gonna go back into the comfort mode and quiet up to listen to the cabin volume at these speeds. Well, this isn't the most well-insulated cabin in this segment, and certainly that I've ever heard. You do get wind noise, you get outside traffic noise, on the louder road surfaces especially, you get tire hum. It's not awful, but it's not gonna make for the most zen on a longer highway commute. For the price, it's just on the line of acceptable. Fortunately, there is a way to block out that outside noise with the optional Harman Kardon sound system equipped to this vehicle with the premium package, and we'll listen to that via the wireless Apple CarPlay system that takes over the entire screen. I love that. It makes the icons nice and large, and the screen itself is responsive, so I can quickly and easily find what I'm looking for, get the tunes going, and then either seek ahead or use the physical controls down here and use that volume knob to dial it up to, it looks to be about 50% right there. Go a little more, maybe 60, 65%. Gotta go up a little more. Okay, I think that's enough to give me a feel for it. It has a really solid tonal range. The mids and highs were nice and clear. The bass was on the lighter side. I may have to dial that up more in the settings. The wattage was enough for what I needed, but it's definitely not gonna blow out your eardrums before getting into a distortion level. I think that is an excellent sound system for the small upcharge that is going to separate you from what's going on outside the car. And to help relax you, this vehicle has the optional Driving Assistance Pro package with adaptive cruise control and steering assistance, so I don't have to touch the throttle or the brake to maintain a gap to the vehicle in front of me, and it's gonna help keep me in the center of the lane. If it's below 40 miles per hour in, please don't come in, Sienna, in heavy traffic, then you can go completely hands-free on it. I wish it was full-speed hands-free highway driving like GM Super Cruise or even what BMW offers on its 7 Series, but this is still gonna be enough to reduce that fatigue of daily slogs in traffic. Now it's time to test the practicality with a trip to Costco on behalf of the Families Forward charity. Nope.
What do you currently have? A tub combo or?
Got a tub combo, yeah.
Trying to change it to a walk-in?
Yeah.
We'll give you a lifetime warranty on a new shower.
Nice.
And also 10% back off the project. You're all set
Right
for
on.
a free estimate, no obligation to follow through.
Nice.
But we will save it for 12 months so you can sit on it or compare quotes with other people. Have a
Thanks,
good one,
dude.
Miles.
You too.
Yeah.
So I did manage to resist the temptation to buy the Lego set, but not to learn more about updating our 30-year-old bathroom. Interesting. Oh well, it's time to see, is all of this Costco load gonna fit in the trunk of the M340i? Friends, you think you need an SUV for practicality. Heck, some of you think you need a moving van, but the truth is that a sedan like the 3 Series is gonna give you plenty of storage space. The entire charitable Costco trip fit in the back with storage cubbies off to the side for the smaller items and a netted pouch to keep things from moving around. Paper towel, toilet paper, cereal, peanut butter, canned goods, you name it, it fits. So let me return my cart like a responsible shopper and then make it very clear that the 25 BMW M340i is Costco approved. And here's another win for sedans: visibility. It's already great not having a giant C or D pillar like you do in an SUV or a constrained view out the back, but you also have all those goods tucked away in the trunk so they don't interrupt any part of that view. It's about time to refuel this 15.6 gallon tank. The EPA rates this vehicle at 23 mpg in the city, 32 on the highway, and 26 combined. If I saw that, we'd have a fuel range of about 400 miles. However, over the last 150 miles, I've been averaging just 21.5 miles per gallon. And at current fuel prices of $5.09 here in SoCal for the required 91 octane gas, it's gonna cost me $79 to fill this tank, and there isn't capless fueling, so I do have to work just a little bit harder. Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered how the M Sport 3 Series differed from the 330i and M3 in terms of livability. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I've become convinced it is the absolute sweet spot for fun and comfort. The B58 inline 6 is smooth and accessible, whether running errands or carving canyons. The ride is more composed in the twisties than a 330i, but less punishing over pocketed roads than an M3. The seats are supportive for lateral maneuvers, but relaxed for commuting. The only Zen breaker would be the additional NVH level at highway speeds. The cabin is the ideal blend of technology and intuitive controls, even if it feels a little bit cheaper in some ways than my mom's old E46. This is a sophisticated and spirited daily driver without any learning curve. Please, BMW, never change this car. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.